Welcome back to another episode. I am Sticks. This is my best friend and co-host, Delon or D-Lo, and we are part of my Wisdom Podcast. What we are as a podcast is we talk about sports and the stories behind those sports. We also talk about some current events and some relationships as well. But all in all, we do have some really, really good topics to talk about today. But first, of course, if you don't mind, it would always be great if you like the video, subscribe. We do have a goal of 500 subscribers, and we're not necessarily close, but we're getting there. We're going to get there. We're going to get there with y'all's help. So if you would, go ahead and subscribe, like the video. It's free. It don't cost you nothing. Just go ahead and do that. No effort. Just hit the button. D-Lo, what we got on the docket today, man?
Oh, boy. This week was crazy, wasn't it? We got some good topics this week. We're going to continue to talk about Ime Udoka. Hopefully this is the last episode that we talk about Ime Udoka. I mean, who knows? I still feel like there's more stuff to come out about it, but yeah, we're going to talk about Ime Udoka. Mm-hmm. Kanye had a crazy week this week, didn't he?
Indeed, he did.
And then, yeah, so Draymond and Jordan Poole fight in practice. We're going to talk about that as well. So,
Lord have mercy, man. We got some juicy stuff to talk about today, man.
Yes, sir.
That's what we do. How was the week for you, man? I know we of course we speak throughout the week, but how was the week, man?
The week was good. As always, man, my weeks are kind of compacted with work, but the ending of the week is usually good when I get time to chill with the family. So this weekend we went up to visit my aunt and my little cousin who had a football game. So that's he's 8 years old, played in a little league football game.
Oh, that's what's up.
They didn't play well, but it's still
they 8, so there's still some development to happen there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they didn't play well, but I got a chance to see them play for the first time. So me being who I was, not in college, but in high school and stuff, and at that age, just gave them some words of wisdom, words of encouragement. And then you got to see some childhood friends, some college teammates and whatnot while traveling on the way back. And obviously spend time with my immediate family, my wife and my kids. So good week, good weekend. How about you, man? How was everything?
Just like you, man, of course, it's always compacted with work. You know what I'm saying? Got to sell these cars out here in these streets, man. People need them. But other than that, man, just kind of chilling, making sure I'm taking care of business with this right here, making sure this is getting taken care of, me and you together. But of course, the weekend, I got Lil Mama with me. Me and her always have fun. We talk. As a matter of fact, we had a really good conversation on one of the topics too. I might talk about that today. But yeah, man, she's good, man. I put this picture up because she is a volleyball player now.
Okay, yeah,
that's my girl right there, grown. Man. Look at what?
Nah, dog.
I'm taking that to work with me, man. She's usually a talking point of why I'm in Washington anyway. So yeah, she happy, I'm happy. As long as she good, I'm good, man. So that's what my week usually consists of, bro.
Man, listen. So I saw our other one the other day too.
Yeah,
it's crazy how time flies because she looked grown as well.
Really?
Yeah, she looked grown too. So I mean, yeah, time flies, man. I'm proud of both of y'all and both of them and how they've matured as
for sure
little girls into grown or not grown yet, but women as they are becoming grown.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah, but hey, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. First topic, the scandal that continues to give and give. Ime Udoka. So some more information has come out and some finalization or confirmation of the actual woman. And I want to take credit for us not going completely into the scandal. I didn't want to put any false information out there, but Sticks, not that he wanted to put false information out, but he definitely wanted to, put the gospel out and
For sure.
and say what he knew or what he thought he knew about the situation to entertain everybody, but I was kind of holding the reins back a little bit. But anyway,
sure.
long story short, we finally know who the woman is. Finally, some information has come out with the woman that has been involved in this whole scandal with Ime Udoka and the Boston Celtics. Kathleen Nemo Lynch has been confirmed as the woman that was cheating with Ime Udoka during this Boston Celtics scandal. She is the team's service manager who helps arrange travel, lodging, game tickets for the families at the home and away games for the Boston Celtics. She also helped, or is likely to have helped, Nia Long with her traveling, and then also helping her arrange travel for her move in Boston. They're still sticking with the power dynamics is the reason for the length of the suspension with Ime Udoka. And then somehow Danny Ainge is involved in all this, who hasn't even been involved with the Celtics for at least a year. Somehow his names get thrown into there. So,
well, he's still involved in the organization because he plays a role with the organization still. He's not coaching. He's not like the president, but he still has some kind of part in. He holds some role in the organization. But we'll talk about that later. But go ahead.
Okay, we'll talk about that later because you saw my face.
Yeah.
Anyway, but somehow Danny Ainge is involved in this and some other stuff as far as alleged with Ime is he may have been messing with other women in the organization.
I mean, well, that's definitely a rumor that he had possibly messed with other people in the organization, or the women in the organization. But what was really said was that he has done this with every organization that he has worked for.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's
that's
get into
where
that.
So that's where that actually came into play, because it's like this is not the first time he's done this. You know what I'm saying? Like every place that he stopped, and I didn't go down the road to look at the places that he's actually worked for or coached or anything like that. But it came out that, because what I read was, it says things don't look good for Udoka, who has been banned from the NBA for a year. It says, unfortunately for him, more and more rumors are becoming public. It's been suggested that he has a long history of sleeping with multiple women everywhere he's coached. So
you kind of help.
Kind of, so this man, I mean, he's been, engaged to Nia for 7 years.
Right.
And he been slanging for a while now. Like,
yo,
like listen. My boy, what you got going on, my dog?
Yeah, man. Hey, all right. So Sticks, now that everything has been confirmed, how do you feel about this situation?
Well, just to go back to what D-Lo said at the beginning of the episode, we were trying to not to feed too much into the allegation of who the woman was, because we didn't want to speculate and do the same thing that these media outlets are doing. But whenever I did kind of release those two names, Miss Nemo Lynch was one of those names that I did say, hey, she might be one of these women who were who was in this situation with Udoka, and it does come out that she was, so
she was. And so I was just gonna say, but the only thing that's different about her name being involved is her position, because I think when it first came out, it was the Lynch that was attached to the VP of the Celtics organization. It was like the wife of, not
the wife of,
right? Yeah. So it's not actually the Nemo Lynch that's the service manager.
Well, so she is the wife of the VP, though.
No,
but she just acts. She's not.
No, she's the wife. Yeah, she's the wife of a consultant, a financial consultant that assists the Boston Celtics organization, but he has no direct ties to the. So that's that's what it is.
Okay.
Yes, but he has no direct ties to the Boston Celtics. He's like a third-party consultant or whatever.
Okay, got you. But it did go on to say, and I don't know why they was putting all this information about this young lady out there, but it says she's a devout Mormon who is a mother of 3. Who cares?
But Sticks, remember last week I said they don't, when it needs to be put out there, the media organizations, they don't care about these women, man.
They don't, man. They really don't. But the crazy thing is, we know that they don't care about them. But
they were protecting her so
they were
much.
protecting her so heavy the last 2 weeks, bro. Like, why? And you put like we said in the first episode, the first time we did this episode on Udoka, you putting Udoka all on Front Street for everybody to talk about and hate on and talk shit about, and you protecting this woman. But whenever she finally comes out and figure out exactly who she is, you put all her business in the street.
All her business out there.
All of it in the street. That means you didn't care to begin with. So why were you protecting her? Like, so crazy.
Right. Like, so again, it leads me to believe there is more to this than we actually know right now. So it's more to this situation, or it's more to her situation and Danny Ainge's situation? Because why he all of a sudden get thrown in this out the blue, and he's not been with them for a year. And it's funny to me that you say he still has some type of role with the school, with the team, but he is the director of basketball operations for the Utah Jazz. How that's conflicting. So you can't do that, right? Well, I know he has a son that works with the team still.
Right. So I was wrong. I thought whenever I read up on it, it said he was still the chief of basketball operations for them, but it said he used to be. So that was my mistake. That was my mistake.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But so I mean that's all of a sudden Danny Ainge gets thrown into it, and then you let her information come out. It's more to this than I think they want us to believe now. They're just trying to, again, as we've been saying this whole time, they're trying to let this die down. But until all the facts truly come out, it's not going to die down, and it will continue to get the flag or the wave of smoke. What am I trying to say right now? They're still trying to flame the smoke. They're still going to flame the smoke to figure out what's really going on right now in this whole situation. Until all of it comes out, it's just going to keep getting flamed.
It's going to definitely keep getting flamed. But just to go back to the Danny Ainge thing, the reason why he kind of got involved is because his daughter Taylor is best friends with Kathleen Lynch, and she came out and kind of made a statement about what was going on. I mean, I'm not going to read her statement because it really don't make a difference. Right. But that's why Danny Ainge was so up in arms about it, because he knows Miss Lynch very, very well, because his daughter is best friends of hers, and he's grown to have a relationship with Miss Lynch. But like Danny, that ain't got nothing to do with Danny Ainge though. Like nothing at all. What does that got to do with zero to do with him
in China, man?
Zero. Like
everybody in the organization knows this woman pretty well. Like, goddamn, come on.
Yeah.
So how you just get thrown into it? That's why I'm like, it's got to be, to me, that's the first thing that popped in my mind, is all of a sudden they throw Danny Ainge in it. It's got to be more to that than. It's like a movie. This really is like a movie. Somebody put that in our comments.
Somebody did, bro. Somebody did.
It really is like a movie, man. Because
it is, bro.
When a character gets introduced in a movie, you gotta figure out what his role is in a movie.
And usually, whenever that character is introduced, it's usually a dramatic entrance. Sometimes, this is like Miss Lynch's dramatic entrance. Like, what, bruh?
Right. Exactly. Bruh. Exactly. So. All right, so then now that we actually know who the person is, the woman, I should say, do you still feel like she should not be punished?
I definitely think she should be punished. But just like I said in the first episode, there's no reason why there's two people in this situation who broke the same exact rules, no matter how high Udoka is in this food chain of this organization. It don't matter. They did the same thing. They broke the same rules. I don't think they should get the same punishment. Yeah. But she should be suspended. She should be suspended without pay, or it don't matter. She should have some kind of reprimand, because there's no reason. You are suspending this man for the whole year. He can't be around the organization for the whole year. And they are still going to reevaluate after he comes back from this suspension. So like you said last week and the week before, to you, that means he's fired.
For sure.
And especially whenever Grossbeck said he's not going to keep him from looking at jobs elsewhere, again, to us, that means he's fired. So if you're going to fire this man, what's going on with Ms. Lynch?
Yeah.
Why she not getting no kind of punishment, no kind of suspension, no nothing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, find something. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, but of course, because Ime is the coach and he has a little bit more to lose, They put him on Front Street. But what you think? How you feel about it?
I feel exactly how you feel. I feel like she needs some type of punishment too, whether it's and we as the public won't know if she's punished or not, but whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, something, she needs some type of reprimand as well as Udoka. Now he probably should have more of a suspension just because of the quote unquote power dynamic, where again, as I mentioned to you in the first episode, I don't think that players and coaches sit in the same organizational chart for basketball or professional organizations as the other staffers. So that power dynamic that we keep talking about is different. The only reason it's a power dynamic, I believe, is because he is like one of the faces of the franchise.
The public figures,
that's the only right. He's like, yeah. So that's the only reason why it's a power dynamic. But the true power dynamic where the lady or the worker is directly under the boss, or they sit in the lower chart, that's not a true power dynamic that we're speaking of here.
I agree.
But yeah, I definitely feel like it should be some type of punishment for her as well. But when you read up on different articles of when her identity was revealed, it says she's scared to go out and get groceries because now her image has been all out. So it's kind of like that's her punishment, I guess. It's like the public shame. Yeah, and it's bad that happened, but they knew what they were. If you mess with a public figure and you're married and he is in a relationship, you gotta also think about the consequences of that. And this was the consequence. She is, I wouldn't say she's publicly shamed. Well, maybe she is. I don't know. But
maybe
if she's publicly shamed, it's because her identity has been held captive for so long.
Agreed.
And now that it's finally out, for sure, it's been confirmed. So now everybody's like, oh, it's you. And so the thing to me is, look, and I know that this is going to be funny. I know that I'm not the most photogenic and all that, but her pictures, I'm like,
I think I honestly it is crazy because I was about to make a comment about that in a second, but I think he was trying to pick the most low key person that nobody would think that he would mess with. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people in media that were like, number one, playing the race card, which is kind of crazy. But people were saying like he's a black man with a black wife and he cheated with a white woman who was nowhere close to Nia's caliber. So it's like, bruh. So just like you said, I'm not the most photogenic either. I mean, I don't really like taking pictures, to be honest. I just recently started smiling in pictures, but and
then we're on a video podcast,
exactly, which is crazy, right?
The contradiction in that,
I swear. But it's like I think he was really, if that's the case, I think he was like kind of trying to be low key. Like he can't. Miss Feaster would have been too obvious because black chick, athletic, cute, you know what I'm saying? So that would have been way too obvious. But Miss Lynch is like,
I can get away with this.
I can get away with this one, you know what I'm saying? Like she don't seem like anybody I really fuck with like that, you know what I'm saying? So that not knowing that, I mean, most dudes will get down with what they can get down with, to be honest.
Yeah.
So anybody,
but not knowing that she answering phone calls in front of her Ring camera,
dummy, like stupid. It's stupid. Like, come on, bro. And that's kind of what makes that a little bit more damning, is because honestly, they said, I saw another report that this relationship ended well before the case even started.
Right.
Which makes the Ring camera footage that came out last week so much more damning, because if this ended so long ago, but I ain't gonna say so long ago, say it ended a month ago or 2 months ago, right?
Well, it had to end at least 2 months ago, because initial reports were saying the Celtics knew about this relationship like in July. And so July,
so it had to end well for this. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then the private team was brought in
September last month,
investigate it. So yeah, it had to have ended.
So it had to have ended at least in August. So a month before at least. So, but if that's the case, then this ring camera footage came out last week. Why are you still talking about this? If this ended a month before the investigation even started, why are you still in front of your ring camera, girl? I remember when I miss Ime. Girl, I miss Ime that month. You know what I'm saying? Like type shit.
Yeah. But this is the thing though. So that's how it originally was started. The investigation was started. So if the investigation was started, so it may be some conflicting stories, right? Because the Celtics are saying they started an investigation from a third party law firm. I have read that the actual third party law firm or private investigator was brought on by Lynch's husband. And then he went and then he went to the Boston Celtics and said, you need to fix this or you need to do something about this. And then that's when they did what they did. And that's when everything started to come out.
Got you. Okay, so it is some conflicting stories out there because I was hearing that she was still talking about it, but you heard that the investigation came out because she taught. Okay, I got you. So that your story is probably the truest of the two because I can see that happening more so than an investigation happening and you still on your ring in front of the ring camera on your phone talking about it. So your story is probably the most true for sure. Yeah. But
so go ahead.
Now I was gonna break into Nia Long finally breaking her silence on the whole thing on Insta.
Have at it, my guy.
Yeah. So she finally broke her silence, post on Instagram saying, "A tip for mental health: learn to distinguish who deserves an explanation, who deserves an answer, and who deserves absolutely nothing." So what do you take from that statement? What do you take from that statement?
I take that she still wants to be private about what's going on. I take that she's saying that we as the public don't deserve an explanation for whatever she decides to do in the future, or whatever she's doing right now, or whatever they're going through as a family, or whether she decides to reconcile or not. I take it as she's hurt, but she's going to still try to remain strong about the situation. What do you think?
I'm on the side with you. I feel like she's saying that so it's three parts to that, right? Learn to distinguish who deserves an explanation, right? First off, of course, she's the one that deserves the explanation, but with her statement, I don't think she deserves to explain herself to anybody because she was the one that was wronged in the situation. So she's not the one that deserves to explain herself. She deserves the explanation. Ime deserves to explain himself as to why the fuck did you do this? Right? Now, who deserves one answer is the public. They deserve the one answer. I'm fine. That's all she got to say. I'm fine. I'm going to stay strong. Right? And who deserves absolutely nothing is Ime. He don't deserve nothing else from Nia. Because if he's been engaged to this woman for 7 years and he's been rumored to be having these relationships everywhere that he's coached. So he's been doing wrong this whole time. So he deserves nothing from Nia. Period. So those three parts is what I kind of broke it down to.
Yeah. And that's a great assessment of the situation. But we talk all the time. And I always say that one thing causes a ripple effect. And this whole situation for Nia Long has caused a ripple effect because one of the key questions that came out from this whole, when this scandal first started was she was his wife.
She's not his wife, correct?
She's not his wife. Then it was fiance of XYZ years, right? And then so when that comes out, it's like, well, dang, Ime don't want to marry her. But if you dig a little deep, you read that she's not a big fan of marriage, and not to victimize the victim, not to do that to her. Villainize, yes, not to villainize the victim, and that's not exactly what I'm trying to do here. But I'm just saying, I think she's going to try to at some point it may take a while, but I think she may try to reconcile, assuming that the other allegations are not true.
Got you.
So if it's just this one time that it's happened, and we've heard that all parties are trying to fight for their families back, and if this is the one time that it's happened for Ime, she may try to take him back.
Yeah, I think she'll definitely maybe try to reconcile, depending on the rest of the allegations and things from the past. But it's funny you said that, because I had a quote here that she says, "I don't believe I need to say I do to prove to you that I love you. I don't know that I need to feel like I'm in a partnership that's working if I have to get married." So she's not really a big she's not really a big component of marriage, but they have been engaged for 7 years. But she's not rushing into marriage at all, all. You know what I'm saying?
And she's entitled to how she feels. He's entitled to how he feels. Everybody is entitled to their opinion and their opinions on marriage. I'm married. If other people don't want to get married, it is what it is. But
I look forward to getting married someday. So
yeah. So I mean, I don't want people to hear what I said and say, "Oh, he's trying to villainize her because she doesn't want to get married." That's not the case. Or she was cheated on because she didn't want to get married to him. That's not the case either. I was just bringing that up because the quote that you mentioned, that kind of plays a part into her answer. To me, that plays a part in her answer as well, because not that public information about her saying she doesn't want to get married, I'm sure people can look that up, and she probably has realized, her publicist or somebody said, "Well, you said this back in the day," and so now people are coming to, well, why aren't y'all married? Well, how do you feel about him cheating? Stuff like that. So she's came with that quote. Who needs an explanation? Who needs nothing, and who needs a response?
Exactly. So I mean, I think they'll eventually reconcile. I mean, she's gonna have to answer to those questions anyway, if she does do if she does go on any shows or speaks publicly to anybody, goes on any podcast or whatever. Nia, we here if you want to come talk. But holla at us. But nah, I mean, I think Nia is gonna be cool. I mean, she's staying strong through all this anyway, so she's gonna be straight. I just wanted to bring one more thing too before we go to the next segment. There was an article that said hip hop's obsession with Nia Long will be the end of Ime Udoka. Did you see that?
I agree. Yes. No, I did not see that, but I do agree with that, because it's going. Okay, before we get into that, I have an issue with the mainstream media referring to her as Fresh Prince of Bel-Air star or actress Nia Long. Like that's the only thing she ever did in her life.
That's correct. When I read that in an article, I was like, bro, that's not the only thing she did, bro. Because it made it seem like she had so many more movies, so many more roles. Like she was more of a star at the time than Will even was.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? But like, bruh, that is an issue. That is an issue for sure.
Yeah, but for sure, hip hop is going. The obsession with Nia Long and hip hop is definitely going to be the end for Ime Udoka, because her DMs are being blown up right now.
Blown up.
The memes of Cole, of she played in with. Well, he's with somebody else right now. But the different characters that she played roles for, the girlfriend or the wife in these different roles, those memes are popping up all over the place. So so he better come back like Kobe with the daggone $4 million ring.
He better come back with something, boy. He better show it on a press conference. He better go out there with Nia and the kids. He got to do something, because the hip hop obsession, that joint dates back to the 90s. So of course. The hip hop community, the black community, especially the black community, is not going to let Udoka easily forget about this transgression, bro, because there's so many. Go ahead.
I was going to say, especially the black women.
Especially the black women. Even the black men that still have that slight, like, Nia, like, they still have that slight crush on Nia, even though, you know what I'm saying, that it's back. Her real claim to fame or her stardom was in the 90s and a little bit in the 2000s, but people still have that, that's Nia. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. Yeah. But she even said that our boy J. Cole was not too young. Did you see?
So Can we get into that real quick?
Go ahead.
Just
Talk
real
about
quick.
it. Talk about it.
I didn't know she was engaged. So
Okay.
now, because when she said that was not that long ago.
It wasn't. It was, I think, maybe a year ago, maybe.
Really?
Because she said he's really not too young. That? He just doesn't know it. That's exactly what she said.
Well, hold on. Udoka's how old?
Udoka is 41. No, 45. Udoka's 45. She's 51.
Oh, okay. Because Cole is our age.
Cole is 37. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, okay, I guess that makes sense. But you can't say, I mean, I know like in entertainment, you try to keep the fantasy of she's available or he's available. So, let's act like you're not married. But you can't say that type of stuff.
You can't. Not when you engage, Mike. Come on now. Come on, bro. But I mean, but it's been so many lyrics from of course our boy J. Cole to Lil Wayne to Juicy J. Everybody, Kanye, Lil Wayne.
Kanye, oh God, Kanye. Here we go.
Yeah, couldn't keep it at home. Thought I needed a knee along, bruh. Yeah. But we want to talk about him soon too. But it's been so many lyrics about her in hip hop. But I mean, there's many people who is including the hip hop community, as well as NBA insiders and coaches and analysts that say his career might be done as a whole, man. So we're gonna have to see what the future holds for him.
Yeah, which makes you wonder again, what else is there? Especially since Matt Barnes, we go back to Matt Barnes because his statement alone was pretty defining. In saying that the final statement he said on his interview with Vlad TV is, if everything comes out, it's going to get hot in the kitchen. And I don't think he's going to have a job anywhere in the NBA. If what we know right now, with the information that's been released, is what is supposed to come out, all that needs to come out, I don't think that's damning enough to keep him from being a coach in the NBA.
I don't think so either. I mean, because like you said, it was a consensual relationship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Both of them, I'm not going to say regardless of, but he came out with some, the language that he was using and what he was saying to the young lady, this and the third. Okay, that's pretty damning. But whenever this whole situation started, it was consensual. So she knew what she was getting into. He knew what he was getting into. They did their thing. They ended it, but then it came out. So she should be suspended or fined or something. He should be suspended, which he is. And then after that, we need to figure out exactly what we're going to do. I think he'll have... But you know what's crazy? I said this last week, D-Lo. Because I was like, remember whenever Grossbeck said he's not going to hold him from getting any jobs anywhere else. And I was like, well, it depends on how crazy the allegations are. If they really want these problems to come into their organization in the future. And knowing that he may have allegedly had a lot of other relationships everywhere that he's coached. Yeah. Who else? Ain't nobody taking him, bro. Because if he's coached 5 places before the Celtics, he's had 6 situations like this in the past. Ain't no other organization bringing him and risk that happening a 7th time.
Or they will. Or they will, and just make sure that he's under a microscope with every interaction that he does. Because if he's done it in other organizations and it's just now coming out, you can bet your bippy. That this was known before he was the head coach of the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It can go either way for Ime. I mean, I hope his career isn't over. But with what he's done, I wouldn't be surprised if it is, to be honest.
Yeah. Better luck next time, my guy.
Better luck next time, boy. Don't do it again. Stay away from ring cameras.
For sure. Well, make sure if you messing with somebody, they stay away from the ring cameras.
That's a fact.
So it's been a crazy week for Kanye West.
Crazy week.
And he goes from fashion show in Paris where he wears a White Lives Matter shirt to beefing with various hip hop celebrities around the industry. So, Sticks, let's get right into it, man. Kanye West officially changed his name to Ye.
Ye.
Had a fashion show in Paris wearing a White Lives Matter t-shirt. He's received public backlash about it from various races in some of the fashion industry. He's also received backlash from who he calls his brother, Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
Diddy goes on a Breakfast Club where he's asked about the situation about Kanye wearing a T-shirt in Paris, and Diddy says that Ye is a super free thinker.
I agree with that.
So yes, very much so.
Very much so.
Then he had to like kind of backtrack and clear it up to saying he's not condoning what Ye did in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
From there, they exchanged a call, which didn't end well.
Right.
And then they exchanged text messages where Ye puts on Instagram for everybody to see their text message exchange.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then Ye goes on Fox News with Tucker Carlson. And does an interview where he says he doesn't really care about the backlash and goes on to talk about various topics, political, different companies, his company, his mother, Kim, so on and so forth.
His dad, some more stuff.
His dad, yeah. And he talks about being greenlit, which greenlit means, or green light,
or fault, whatever.
Somebody harming you. So my question to you, Sticks, is how do you feel about this week's antics from Kanye and everything else around that whole situation?
So, of course, and I called him my good friend, but of course he was in Paris at Fashion Week with Candace Owens, right?
Your great friend. My
good friend Candace, right? And to be perfectly honest, bro, seeing as how Candace Owens is a public figure and she has a podcast, she talks about a lot of controversial and political issues going around in the world, right? She has had it out for BLM since day one.
Yep.
Right. I honestly think that they did this as a publicity stunt. My personal opinion. I think they did it as a publicity stunt to bring eyes to them so they can have a public forum to talk about what they really want to talk about. The issue ain't the shirt. That's not the issue to them. They don't give a damn about what people think about them wearing that shirt. They wore the shirt to, oh my God, what the like, they're two black people wearing a White Lives Matter shirt. So that brought the eyes. Millions and millions of people are talking about Candace Owens and Ye right now.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what they wanted. They wanted to bring eyes to them to talk about other issues, because Candace Owens went on her podcast on YouTube and put down a bunch of different stats about what is really wrong with the black community and how she really feels. Now, did you go into that?
I did not see that. Nope.
Okay.
You gotta let me know what she said.
All right. So first of all, Candace Owens is doing a full documentary, probably like a couple of episode documentary that's going to be releasing soon, exposing BLM for a fraud, which is supposed to release, right?
I did see that.
And then Kanye posts on his Instagram as well that everybody knows that Black Lives Matter was a scam. Now it's over. You're welcome, right? Now, we did an episode, we did a segment on our podcast a couple of weeks ago about BLM and how the people in the organization were fraudulent. I don't personally believe that the whole movement itself was fraudulent. I think it had a lot of good to it. It actually brought a lot of awareness to a lot of things in the black community, especially police brutality. I don't agree with the movement being fraudulent. I do believe that the people behind it were terrible people.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, to me, D-Lo, and you can agree or disagree with me on this. The crazy thing to me with this is that people are so worried about a White Lives Matter t-shirt. But I don't know anybody in my circle or even in media other than Fox News that was even talking about the organization stealing the money. Did you hear about it?
No, not really. No, I haven't.
No, man, CNN wasn't talking about it. No famous podcasters, nobody of any stature was talking about it. I saw a couple of like reaction channels on YouTube, and we talked about it, but it wasn't
You
exposed.
mean recently?
Period.
Yeah, I mean, so it had to be talked about in order for us to in the media circuit. And I'm not taking the side of the media in
I got you.
no regards, but it had to be talked about to some degree in order for us to know that the parties inside were stealing money. So. So, I mean, yeah, recently, no, you haven't heard much about it. It's been like a blip, and a blip real quick. Oh, they stealing money. On to the next story. But it hasn't been nothing
crazy,
in depth.
But it's crazy to me that exactly, it wasn't spoken about in depth. It wasn't broadcasted the way I think a lot of the Black community should have broadcasted it, knowing that these people are donating millions and millions and millions of dollars and they're stealing this money. Right. But regardless of that, people are up in arms about a t-shirt, but not what's going on behind the scenes with their actual money. Right. But so no one cared about that news, but Black Lives Matter. How can I say this? There's more things in the Black community, according to Candace and Kanye, that I think people should be worried about. And a couple of things, Kanye West on the Tucker Carlson when he talked to Tucker Carlson, he was wearing an ultrasound on his neck, right? And he said he was saying that he was pro-life and that more babies are being killed by abortion in New York City alone than are being born, and half of Black death in America is abortion. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But Black Lives Matter, their biggest issue was police brutality. But why are we not talking about abortion? You see what I'm saying?
So that's a hot button topic. Is really abortion, and not to take away from that, but I'll say exactly what you started out saying, and then we can get right back to where we are right now. Is that when I saw the shirt and Candace Owens, my first thought is, oh hell, Kanye's trolling again. Kanye's trying to sell something again. Kanye's tripping again. And exactly what you said, I felt, is he's trying to draw eyes to discuss something bigger, right? And so you move from the shock and awe of Kanye West in a White Lives Matter t-shirt, and you come to the Tucker Carlson interview that he did. And if you actually listen to the interview and not the bites that the sound bites that various media companies put out from the interview, you hear that he had a lot to talk about. Whether you agree with it or whether you don't agree with it, he talked about various things.
Right.
And I just feel like while he is a genius, I've said that multiple times, musically and fashion-wise, if you like the type of fashion that he promotes, I'm not really a fan of it.
Me either.
If you
some
like
of the
that type
shoes,
of,
maybe, but
yeah, they're hit or miss to me.
Yeah.
But if you like that type of fashion, he is a genius.
He is.
But we've said it multiple times. Ever since his mother has died, he's just been spiraling out of control. The abortion thing that he talked about with the Tucker Carlson interview, where he was referring to the ultrasound he had on his chest, to me is, and we're not political correspondents. We don't really talk about politics, but to speak on this situation, I think is him using who he is
and his platform
to help Republicans kind of combat the heatedness and the tension of America and the ruling from what happened in June 24th of this year with Roe versus Wade.
Yep.
Because in the same interview, he said it killed me that I couldn't say how much I like Trump, because my people and the left were trying to keep me quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So now in his, as Diddy said, his ultimate super free thinking,
Mm-hmm.
this is how I get attention on me. Now that I have attention on me, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about and help the people that I want to help.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, he's also said, I'm going to be president one day.
He also has said that. Yep.
He said that in an interview.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's not going to be president in 2024, if he's not going to run, he is going to help Donald Trump and the Republicans get to back in office and whatever they decide to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a problem with the shirt, because we all know white lives matter. We all know Black lives matter. We all know that all lives matter.
All lives matter. We all know that.
The problem that I have, and the problem that I've had with Ye for the last couple of years, even though I still engage in his music, because he, like I said, he's a genius, is he used all of these years up until now to profit off of our culture, to profit off of Black people. And then all of a sudden he kind of, while he says he's doing it for Blacks, it doesn't seem that way. He's kind of turned his back on us, on the Black community and the hip hop culture. And now is like ushering in different, he's ushering in stuff that kind of ideologies that go against what the culture is. And I get it. A lot of the topics and a lot of the culture, some of the things that we do inside of hip hop culture does need to die down. We need to kill that. But and it's most of what he is saying, but a lot of what he's saying too is like, all right, man, listen, you got to chill, because the Black Lives Matter, the movement, not the organization, was much more than just the people stealing money. It had a purpose.
It did. And
for you to take that ideology and it also was confronted with a lot of tension from white people and police and all that stuff, because they were saying we were going against this, that we were going against them. That wasn't the case. It seemed like the media riled us up, or not seemed like, the media riled us up because so many Black lives were being taken from police brutality. And when we stood up for ourselves and said Black Lives Matter, it was combated with, no, all lives matter. So for him to do that is like you slapping us in the face. You slapping Black people in the face, because now, because of the tension that was confronted with Black Lives Matter, when you say white lives matter, we got to confront that. Well, not we, because I really don't care. But it has to be confronted with why. Why did you do this?
Right. Because there's never been a moment in American history where it wasn't implied that white lives didn't matter.
Yeah.
They've always mattered.
All lives have always mattered.
All lives have always mattered. Right. But there wouldn't have been a Black Lives Matter without without the thought that it didn't. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you don't see you don't see it because it's not shown or it's not publicized, because we're the only culture that pulls out a phone and records as opposed to helping. Right. But
that's not necessarily true.
True. Well, but neither here nor there. But yes, of course, all lives do matter. White lives, Asian lives, Black lives, whatever lives, all of them. I think everybody has a reason to be upset with the shirt, because two Black people wearing that shirt, it's kind of weird. Like, again, I didn't think nothing of it, because
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I think the reason, like I said, it was a publicity stunt, because Candace Owen also said that BLM claimed to be leaders, but they were further dividing the masses, and that they wanted to show Black people that oppression and white supremacy surrounds them, so they could convince the Black community to lean into this narrative that somehow their lives would be better. But then she goes on to say that was a mirage.
Yeah, but I mean, it goes back to what you started out this segment with, and that's what I'm sitting on.
Mm-hmm.
Is they use this as a stunt for their own agendas. We know 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that Ye and Gap talked about ending their partnership for clothing. And then Kanye says, I guess in another interview that he did, I guess Sway did have all the answers. I probably
Mm-hmm.
will start my own company for clothing because he can
Right.
do that now.
He
His
can.
name is big enough. He has enough money to where he can start his own company and push clothing. And also in the text messages that he showed with Diddy is he said nobody's gonna mess with my money. I'm gonna sell my clothing how I want to sell my clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also see that Candace Owens is now coming out with a documentary about Black Lives Matter, as you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned. So, regardless of how you feel about it, how I feel about it, how the culture of hip hop feels about it, how Black people feel about it, how white people feel about it, these two individuals had an agenda for why they were in Paris, not in America, but in Paris
Mm-hmm.
with those shirts on, why they took the picture the way that they did. Because my thing is, I want to know what the front of the shirt says.
I don't think it said anything on the front.
Okay.
I don't think it said. I think it
So,
was just a plain black T-shirt and a white T-shirt with the message on the back. I don't think it said anything on the front.
okay. Well, then, so they were in a fashion show that Kanye was hosting or putting on with White Lives Matters.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. They are clearly promote to me. They clearly are promoting what they need to promote to help
Mm-hmm.
fatten their pockets.
Mm-hmm. And I do agree with you is that they did this to promote their own agendas because just like I said in that episode of her own podcast that she has, she stated a bunch of different stats that she thinks is what's really killing the black community, and I'm gonna go over a
Mm-hmm.
couple of them. Right?
Please do,
She
because I'm
said,
interested. Because I before you go into that,
mm-hmm.
I don't agree with everything that she says.
No, I don't. I don't either. I don't either. I don't either.
But she is a very smart person that
Mm-hmm.
does her due diligence and digs into certain topics.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to hear what she says, and
Mm-hmm.
then based off of what she says, I can say, okay,
Yeah.
my logical thinking, my analytical mind can say, okay, this made sense. She's a bit off here, but generally speaking, with Candace Owens, she's not far off of
Mm-hmm.
what she is saying, but
Right.
because
Right.
of the climate that we're in politically, where you're either an extreme right or extreme left, there's
Mm-hmm.
really nobody in the middle,
Right.
like they want us to think. It's the far left has like claimed all of her ideas are just far fetched, so people tune her out.
Right.
You can't tune her out. You have to listen to what she's saying and then decipher for yourself what the information is that she's putting out. Does it make sense for you? And do you believe in what she's saying? So,
For sure.
with that being said, go ahead and say what you said, man. I'm sorry to cut you
No,
off.
you're good. You're good. You're good. So the first stat she said was 117,626 black children were aborted in 2018 in the U.S. She also said that abortion in America has contributed to the greatest decline in the black population since the first black slaves arrived in the United States. Within the black community, abortion is compared to, I don't know if I can say this word, but I'm gonna say it, lynching, right?
Mm-hmm.
But between 1883 and 1941, 4,467 people were lynched in the U.S. 66% of them were black.
Mm-hmm.
20 million black infants have been aborted since abortion was made legal.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States, the abortion rate is higher than the live birth rate. 79% of abortion clinics are in walking distance of black and brown communities. She said also, brought up obesity. She said that obesity is the number one killer in the Black community, and Black women have the highest rates of obesity, being 57% of that number. Mm. Black on Black crime with African Americans are 4 times more likely to be killed by a gun than any other race. Black men account for 40% of all homicide in the US, and Black men are only 7% of the entire population. Black men are 5 times more Black men are in jail than white men. Mm-hmm. But people don't want to talk about the fact that Black men are the most murderous in the nation.
Are they?
40% of all homicide are by Black men, and only 7% of Black men claim the population.
But okay, so what we know based off of studies, mm-hmm. and this fact could be disputed as well, but you can put any number to anything and make it factual. For sure. So regardless of that, I think we all know the situations that the majority of the living situations that the majority of African Blacks live in this country. Mm-hmm. Most of them live in poverty or extreme poverty. They live mm-hmm. in neighborhoods that aren't safe because of that poverty. Mm-hmm. That's what plays into all of the facts that she put out, other than the abortion, right? The crime and the killings play into all of that. Mm-hmm. So while those facts may be true, mm-hmm. it only tells a portion of, and this is what I'm saying when you listen to the facts that she puts out, mm-hmm. is that there's truth to that, but then let's take a deeper dive into why that is. We know why Black on Black crime happens. We know why white on white crime happens for the most part. Mm-hmm. We know that systemically our country has put us in jail for stuff that they would let others out, or, give them a lesser crime, a sentence for. We mm-hmm. know that. Mm-hmm. So again, what she said, it makes sense. It probably is factual, but it's also, you need to take a deeper dive into that before you just listen
100%
and digest that information. I agree. I think this segment took a different turn than I expected it to, but it's all good.
I got you.
Yeah, but
it all plays into the fact that the shirt to them didn't matter. It didn't matter. They wore it to draw eyes. They mm-hmm. really wore that shirt to, like you said, to promote what they really, really wanted to talk about. And these stats, honestly, is what Candace really wanted to bring forth, because she legit hates BLM. She can't stand it. Yeah, she legitimately said that the culture promotes the breakdown of Black community, and BLM has stripped our community families further, and intends to undermine the BLM movement 100%. She can't mm-hmm. stand it. So, but I mean, and just like you said, man, whenever I read it, whenever I was listening to her podcast and I was listening to these things, my first thought went to, okay, I can understand where she's coming from with saying that these stats were the most important things to us, because what BLM was promoting was police brutality most of the time. But mm-hmm. why? My mind went to why was the owners or the leaders of this organization stealing the money when they could have put this money into these communities that were going through all of these statistics? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, you can help use those millions, almost billions of dollars that were donated to this organization and put into these things. Like, try to figure out how you can help these communities and take them out of poverty, and try to mm-hmm. stop this systemic racism or racism that's going on. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I mean, to me, like I said, the movement itself was amazing. The leaders, of course, were terrible people, but it could have been done so much better. And just like I said, whenever we talked about it 2 weeks ago, it's going to have to be somebody within that organization that steps up and says, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to do this way better than we've done in the past. And we're going to actually use this platform that we have and uplift the Black community more so than we have ever done before. It's going to take somebody to do that, man, and actually use that money for good. Because as of right now, I fucks with BLM and what the movement stands for, but somebody has to take the reins and do it better.
Yeah.
Because Candace on their ass.
Well, she been on it though.
She been on it.
She been on it, and so I guess I don't know where to go from here.
Well, so I'm gonna leave it on this point, and we can go to the next step. We can go to the next segment. I was watching. I watch a reaction channel called Playback, and it's Agent Zero. He's usually really a 2K YouTuber, and his best friend, his name is Legend of Winning. But Agent made a statement that says, if Black people make overcoming disadvantages too much of their culture and brand, then they are not going to want to overcome them, because then they become less Black. How do you feel about that?
Say that again.
If Black people make overcoming disadvantages too much of their culture and brand, then they are not going to want to overcome them, because then they become less Black. And this is the example he gave, right? We all know who LeBron James is.
Yeah.
Young kid from Akron, Ohio, who overcame everything and all his obstacles and all of his adversity to become the man that he is today, right? His son, Bronny, just celebrated his 18th birthday. And a lot of people in media are saying that Bronny is whitewashed. He's not Black enough, this, that, and the third, because he was given these advantages by his dad, who overcame everything. So that's where he got that statement from, is that if Black people keep overcoming these disadvantages, then they become less Black. And Bronny was his example.
I can't. So with that example, I can't say that I agree. But I can understand where he's coming from. So the reason I can't say that I agree is because, well, okay, so we're saying what Black, most, not all, we can't generalize, what most Black people are into is hip hop culture. Hip hop culture, they represent, what it is now is the struggle, getting out of it. Most artists come out, talk about drug dealing and whatnot, and then how much money they got because of this and because of that. I mean, I recall when I was in college, we talked about how hard it was in Fayetteville and whatnot, and that's how most of the athletes connected with the cities that they grew up in and how hard it was. So, I mean, and I can understand where he's coming from, but I think as you mature, if he's talking about kids, okay, yeah, his statement has some validity. If he's talking about grown adults, I could care less if somebody feels like my struggle, what I've accomplished as a person makes me less Black. I'm pretty sure you feel the same way as well. So, yeah, if he's talking about kids, how old is he again? He's
who, Bronny or Agent?
Well, I know Bronny's 18, Agent Zero.
26, 27? So
he's still, I mean, he's grown.
Relatively young.
Relatively young. So he's looking at it from a younger mindset. I could care less if, I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. That's complicated. I guess if it's complicated, then the statement is true. But the really, I want to say no, but I guess, like I said, if it's complicated, then the statement he made is true.
I believe that I'm with you. I could care less if somebody thinks that I'm whitewashed because I overcame my struggle and I succeeded. I don't give a fuck. I'm doing what I need to do for myself, my daughter, and whatever family I build in the future. I don't care what you think about me personally. I rarely ever care about what people think about me, to be honest. But we do have a a stigma in the Black community sometimes. Not all Black people do this, but some do this, that if you grow up with somebody or you see somebody doing better than what you're doing, then you have that hate for that person. And not just Black communities do this, all communities do it. But the whitewash comes from people hating on your success because you're doing better than them. And that's what I think Agent was trying to say was, if you make this more of your brand to overcome these disadvantages that you've been dealt in your life, then you become less Black because the people around you now believe that you're whitewashed because you're doing better than them. And if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. And I want to pop. You feel me?
But the reason I can't really go for that is because all communities
do it. Correct. I agree.
Now the reason it is an issue or a challenge for the Black community is because hip hop is mainstream now, and that we associate, again, most people, not all, most Black people associate themselves as hip hop, and if we are associating ourselves with hip hop, then of course the most of the things that they talk about in hip hop is what we have to take on as a collective. But in the grand scheme of things, we don't really. I don't know. It is complicated. It's complicated because you got to layer in how the media portrays, not just hip hop, how the media portrays Black folks in the hip hop culture, and how the system portrays Black folks in the hip hop culture. And then you got to marry in what we think of ourselves, where no one shoe fits everybody.
Right.
So I really don't like this segment. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got to this point and now I'm like, I really don't like this segment, but I mean, we can keep it in.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, we straight. I mean, it's a topic that we have to talk about because there are a lot of things that are going on that I don't think a lot of our people in the Black community know about or even care to even research. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the things that Miss Owens and a lot of the things that Ye are trying to bring to light are bigger issues that are what's really killing our community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's good information that the people need to hear for sure.
Yeah, but the thing is, we aren't the only ones dealing with this issue. But there's just as many. So the percentages are because we make up a smaller percentage of this country. But there are just as many white people or white babies that die every year from abortion. There's just as many white people every year that die from white on white crime. There's just as many. I mean, yeah, we make up a smaller percentage. We have a larger percentage of our people that live in the struggle. So yes, the struggle is going to be what we publicize and what we represent because that is what the bulk of us live in.
Right.
But to strictly put that on Black people, and I'm not taking away from what she said. There's validity in that, but to strictly put that on Black people, to say that if we continually publicize the struggle and we make that our brand, then we don't want to get out of it. I don't think that's fair.
I don't think that's what he was necessarily saying. I think so. Candace Owen, what was said in those stats was honestly because she's trying to let the black community know that these are the things we need to change to be able to get out of the struggle. These are the things we're doing to ourselves that keep us down here, or what people perceive as low, right?
But we aren't the only people that go
through that. I agree with that, but she don't need to talk to white people. She need to talk to us. She's Black. Ye is Black. They don't need to talk to white folk. They're trying to build the white community because it's already so. So the black community is what they're trying to bring up. The white community, there's a such thing as white privilege, but there's not a such thing as black privilege. White privilege is going to be there forever. We need
not
to
necessarily. So
Delon,
the reason
come
there's
on,
white
bro.
hold on. The reason that there is white privilege is because right now the system that we live in, the game that we have to play, was made up by white people. If for some reason black people or Mexicans, Asians, whatever, overtake white people as the predominant power in America, which they're predicting to happen in 20 years, then there will be such thing as Asian privilege or black privilege or whatever the race is that is sitting at top is going to be the privilege. They don't want that to happen. And so what is going on right now, and I don't care either way.
Right.
I sit at the center of all this shit. I don't care what the left is talking about, what the right is talking about. But what I'm saying, what is going on right now, and why I felt like this segment was, I was like, I don't like this segment, is because what really is going on is Candace Owens and Kanye West are being pimped, I believe, to bring black people to the right, so that Republicans don't have to go through what they are going through right now, trying to say that the election in 2020, an interesting take.
I ain't gonna lie. Go ahead.
That in 2020 was not legitimate. They don't want it. So it has been said, I don't know how many times in the last year, that it is crucial that whatever party wins the election, because that is, if whatever party loses, they're going to fight like hell to make sure it's going to be a civil war, basically. Okay. And so in order to make sure that you are the party that is in power when this civil war happens, you're going to do the things that you need in order to pull in as many votes as you can, or to illegitimately make sure that if the other party loses, oh, they won only because of this, or if you win, we won because, so everybody knows. Everybody knows that the black party, the black vote, votes heavily Democrat. The knock against the Republicans right now is that they are all pro-abortion. Not all of them, but they're pro-abortion.
Most of them, yeah.
And the reason that the abortion laws were knocked out like they were in June is because Republicans voted against it, and the Supreme Court, which is majority Republican right now, deemed it illegal.
Got you.
And so in order to combat that and to take some of the steam off of the right, you have these systems and these agendas put in place. Again, I don't care. I feel like we supposedly live in a free country. For the most part, you should be able to make your mind up and do, as long as you're not killing a physical person, you should be able to do what you feel, or, as long as you're making a morally right decision. And I guess you can put that in the air, abortion, as, is it moral or is it not moral? Right. But as long as you're making the right moral decision, you should be able to do what you want to do. What you want
as a free country, correct.
In a free country. But because we live in a climate where everything is just tension. You're extreme if you say this, you're extreme if you say that. You get this type of shit. You get these type of propaganda, I want to say, from people that have a huge platform to draw attention and draw eyes, and then really talk about shit they really shouldn't even be. Maybe Candace Owens, but Kanye, come on, bro. How many? I mean, he's married. He was married to Kim Kardashian. It just recently he's turned this leaf. Before that, like I said, he was profiting off of the culture. So and the last 2 years, shit like this happens. He gets backlash, and then he's remorseful. He retreats. He goes away for a while, and then comes back, and something else crazy happens because he's trying to sell something. Gotcha. When he was promoting Donda, something crazy came out that he did.
What was that? Remember?
it was, what did he do? I forgot exactly what it was, but
Mm-hmm.
he was just like on these manic well, I don't know if they were manic or not, but that was what the media said,
Mm-hmm.
is that he was on these manic episodes. He was just doing crazy stuff. I can't remember exactly what it was. And then all of a sudden we heard, oh, Donda is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
yeah, like you said, this segment took a little bit of a turn. It took a different turn than we both thought it was going to take. But a lot of the things that they both portray are things that I think the Black community do need to look into. But I do agree with you that it's not just the Black community going through these things. It's happening
no,
in
it's not.
every single community across the world. It's just that our culture is such in the forefront of everything that it's more in the public eye, and it seems worse because we are looked at differently, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
We're looked at differently. How though?
Because of the systemic,
Mm-hmm.
issues that are going on, we're so much more free to speak out about the things that are happening to us. So they're publicized more and there's more eyes on it to be able to say, okay, the Black people are going through this and we need to figure out how to stop it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I don't believe that Candace Owens should fight to break down BLM because it has good in it. The people aren't, but the movement is. But I also think that outside of police brutality, there are some other things that us as a community, us as a nation should worry about. You know what I'm saying? And I do agree with you as well, is that they're being used as puppets to bring Black people to the right. Because that was a good topic. That was a good point that you made. It was like they're both heavily Republican, and most Black people are Democratic, and they are trying to be. They're using them to try to bring people more to the right. I agree.
I can't say Candace Owens specifically, even though she will get some Black ears to perk up just because of what she represents. You know, so as of lately, it's been the outrage tactic that they use as far as outrage marketing is what is being used. You draw people up and get them all riled up, and then that's when you deliver the real message. So she's good at that because of the last couple of years, what she represents. Now, Kanye, we all know what Kanye means to the hip hop community. And so for him to 3 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, come out and say he's pro Trump. Okay.
Yeah.
You're pro Trump. And then now again, and then he goes quiet on it. And then he comes back and he's like, I'm this, I'm that. Of course, our people are going to be like, what's up?
Right.
Like, you were 10 years ago, you were just all with us. You were pro Obama and all that. But now you not. What's up? And I get it. There are topics that can't be crossed that both parties are pushing right now. So it may be a major topic that's near and dear to him that he all of a sudden isn't with, that the Democrats push, that he's more conservative on. But they I can't say for sure that he's being used, but I feel like he's being used right now, especially with him. The thing that made me feel like he is being used is it made me feel so upset that I couldn't express my love for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Okay. But you also said you were running for president too. So are you in love with Donald Trump so much that you don't want to run for president until he leaves? Or so that's another. That's just been Ye for the last
It
2
has.
years. He's been so contradictory. He'll say one thing, then he'll back it up. He'll feel remorseful. He'll leave, and he'll come back and he'll say some crazy wild shit.
Yeah.
And then he just rinse and repeats that whole thing. So me, for this segment, and we're talking about Ye, I feel like in a couple weeks we're gonna hear he didn't mean all of it, or he didn't mean some of it. He's gonna retract most of what he said, try to get us back in, and then he's gonna do the same shit.
He's gonna spiral again. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. Well, hopefully, you know what I'm saying, you know, the community kind of gains an understanding of who Ye really is.
Yeah.
And how he really does these tactics, because it's definitely a whirlwind right now with him.
Yeah. And
sure.
And I'll say this. Everything that you said about Candace Owens and the stats, yes, the Black community needs to look into that. But Black people are not the only group that deals with that. And
Agreed.
I get that they don't have to be messengers for the white community, or they don't have to send this message to the white community because they are Black. But don't patrol this, or don't portray this as only a Black issue.
Don't denigrate the Black community.
And that's what it seems like to me. When you read those stats, I took it that way, and maybe I should have took my feelings out of that. But yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. And like I said, they don't necessarily. If we're like you said, white privilege lives because they're the ones at the top right now. But if Black people were to fix these issues, then it puts them closer to the top. And now there's a Black privilege or an Asian privilege or whatever privilege there shouldn't be any privilege. We should all live as one. It should all be free to do whatever the fuck we want to do in America, right? But if there is, it is. And if there is a white privilege, then if we do these things to keep our community from dying, so to speak, is what they talk about. We're killing our own community, then we'll be closer to that level to where we can be right there and say, okay, there's we're the majority of this nation, and we can be strong in this nation, and we can be powerful in this nation. And that's what I think that's what they're trying to say. But again, Black people are not the only ones with these issues. I agree.
Man, with stuff like this, it's so much deeper than what
it is
we are even talking about right now, because again, while the Black community is not the only community dealing with this, the numbers as a whole, not just the Black community in the United States, for birth rate were negative last year.
Yeah.
What's going on in the world right now? Russia is invading Ukraine. China's talking about taking over Taiwan. China and Russia have had a strong relationship for I don't know how long in the last couple years. They're talking about a superpower coming out in the next few years. I forget the names of the Russia, China, Brazil, India, and some other country. They're talking about being a superpower. China's one of the largest countries in the world. India is one of the largest countries in the world. Brazil is one of the largest countries in the world. So if the United States has a negative birth rate, and you have those three countries that are supposed to be combined together, while we have the strongest military in the world, that's a big ass battle.
It is.
That's a big ass battle we have to take on. So as a whole, it's not. That's why I say it's not just a Black issue. And
I agree.
I felt that was an attack on Black individuals in general, but it's not just a Black issue. It's a whole United States issue, but it's not just abortion. It's not just abortion that's gonna help combat the negative birth rate. It's much more than that.
I got you.
Because you have people that are our age that can't have kids. You have, we have people that are our age that don't want to have kids. You have kids, or you have 20-year-olds that say they're not ever having kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much more than just abortion.
Then you have
and I know
the LGBT community that unless they, go through some other routes, they can't have kids either. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
And that's only 1% of the population statistically, but it's much more than that.
Yeah.
And I know, like I said, I know abortion is a hot topic right now because of the rights that have been stripped. And
I've always been pro-choice. You know what I'm saying? That's just my stance on it, but that's neither here nor there. But I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. We can definitely move on.
We can agree to disagree.
No. I don't disagree in the least bit. Me and you are on the same page with our thoughts on this topic, and what the stats say and things of that nature. I do think that we as a community need to take it more serious. Mm-hmm. And if we do, we will rise to the top faster. That's what I think.
It's a lot of things that we as a community, and I know this segment is long as I don't know what, but it's a lot of things that our community could take seriously, but it's the game that we've been placed in.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So we are playing there. It's the game that we've been placed in, and it's a lot of rules to the game that we didn't know until just recently. Mm-hmm. So we are trying to catch up. We're
playing catch up for sure,
and play the game and get back ahead in the game that we were placed in. Mm-hmm. And so to certain people, us doing what our culture does now in the game that we've been placed in is going to seem wrong, but they've been doing it for all up the way up until now.
Years and years. Yep.
So yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's why I said what I said.
Yeah. And I appreciate your opinion on that, man. And like I said, I agree with you. So we just need to, kind of figure out how us as a community can, fix things and take it a little bit more serious. But we good though. Mm-hmm. For sure.
All right, man. So Draymond Green punching people at practice.
That boy done bopped somebody.
Laying him out.
Laid him out.
For sure. Draymond Green last week or earlier this week punches Jordan Poole at practice over what looked to be a heated conversation. We don't know exactly what they were talking about, but what we do know is that during practice, Draymond Green is on offense, or he's on the court. Mm-hmm. Jordan Poole is off the court, but on the baseline. Mm-hmm. You see Draymond Green in the video that's out. You see Draymond Green start of the video, walk from behind Jordan Poole and go to the 3-point line. And then he's still looking at Jordan, chirping. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden he walks up on Jordan. Mm-hmm. Mistake number one for Jordan Poole. And then Jordan Poole pushes him. Mistake number two, didn't put his guard up. He just sits there.
Right.
Which is after the push met by a straight right hand to Jordan Poole's jaw from Draymond Green. End of fight.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't a fight.
Sticks.
Right.
What are your thoughts on the situation, my guy?
Okay, so just like you said, and mistake number one, he let Draymond walk up on him. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of in disagreement a little bit with you on mistake number two, because I don't think Jordan thought he was going to catch that right hook.
Bro, come on now.
But listen, okay. And I'm going to tell you this. They're being competitive like athletes do, regardless if it's you're with your boy in practice or the ops whenever you in the game, right? Mm-hmm. It did escalate, and he punched him in the face. Of course, you couldn't hear what they were saying, but I was thinking, like, what did he say to Draymond to make him punch him? That's of course my mind automatically goes to, damn, he knocked his ass out. What did he say to him? Right. You know what I'm saying? But me as an athlete, I have personally never gotten to a point where I got into a fight in practice or in the game with my brother or with the ops. So me personally, yes, I've gone back and forth and we've talked shit in practice. Me and you've talked shit in practice before, in basketball practice and going against each other. In games, we talk shit to each other, right? So I've been competitive with my brothers before in practice, in the college situations, high school, whatever, AAU, whatever. But it never got to a point where me and my boy was to fight. And to me, I probably would have got stole on by Draymond, because I would have been like, all right, bro, it's not that serious. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just we chirping, we going back and forth, we competitive, we talking shit. I see, but me being from where I'm from, where we from, if I see you walking up on me, I'm straight. All right, hold on, bro. Why you walking up on me, dog? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a be in defense mode off rip, because I see you approaching me. But in Jordan's defense, this is my brother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we talking shit, we going back and forth.
How do you know that though?
They've been teammates for 4 years.
So
their lockers are right beside each other. They talk. This is my boy.
How do you know that?
Me, bro. Come on, bro.
No,
I don't know that. I don't know that. But you're playing devil's advocate. I know. I don't know that they're that close. Right. But go ahead.
What I'm saying is, just because they're teammates
doesn't mean brothers.
that they're brothers.
Agreed.
Just because they're teammates don't mean that they necessarily like each other. Just because they're teammates doesn't mean that Jordan Poole should have expected or not expected Draymond to hit him.
To steal off. Okay.
Anything goes. Anything can happen in a heated argument. And this clearly was a heated argument, especially when you're talking about competitors. We saw the documentary with Michael Jordan. Now, Michael Jordan was a different animal.
He was.
But he was knocking people out in practice too. Steve Kerr. Right. You know what I mean? So, like, when we talking about competitive natured people, and Draymond is not it's not an A-list superstar,
right?
But he has been said to be a very competitive person and the heart and soul
of the Warriors team, right? Yeah,
of the Warriors. I 100% I would expect Draymond to steal off on me if I push him and we've just been in a heated argument. And another thing that really like caught my attention in that video, or one thing that caught my attention in that video, is when Draymond did hit him. You saw the white coach or trainer or whatever.
Yeah.
He was just like, this man did this again.
Here. God. You said you think it was an again?
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know if he's hit anybody before, but his reaction to that situation didn't seem too surprised. He didn't move. He didn't try to help anybody. He just stood there and was like.
But there was a couple of coaches and trainers that could have stopped this from escalating.
For sure.
There was a coach behind them. There was a coach in front of Jordan Poole. Like, I know you hear them, because in my mind, if I hear y'all going back and forth, I'm going to turn and look and make sure, like, okay, I'm going to be observing the situation, especially if I'm a teammate or a coach. I'm me as a leader of the team. If I am a leader, I'm not going to let this escalate further to where my boys are in this situation. If it's me, you know what I'm saying?
Which leads me to ask, what the hell were they arguing about?
That's what I want to know, and that's never going to come out. I don't think that's ever going to come out. You don't think that's going to be
I think pieces. I think little trinkets are sprinkling out. So what I found was that Draymond has not been entirely happy with the way in which his role with playing time is going to be for this year. You know, towards the end of the year, he might not even be playing much because they have such a good stable of young talent. And while he does bring a voice to the team on the court and he helps defensively, he's not much on the offensive side of
the ball.
Right. That's one story I've heard. I also read that Jordan Poole, since last year, you know, he had a great year last year with the Warriors. Since that time, he's kind of become big-headed and a me guy. You know, Draymond has always been in his ear, like trying to, I don't know if it's helping him out, but basically trying to show him the Warrior way. And just recently, it's like Poole hasn't been really receptive of it. And this was the flashpoint of all of these recent
So this
interactions
was
that they've been
the
having.
straw that broke the camel's back, I guess.
Yeah,
then, for
again,
Draymond.
these are allegations. Don't know if it's true. These are rumors, but that's what I read. And so I could definitely see both of those. Draymond is like, oh, this young dude had a good year. He gonna play a lot of minutes. My minutes is probably gonna get cut. Again, I don't know for sure, but my minutes is gonna get cut. Let me talk to this dude real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And so in his talking, Jordan Poole ain't really trying to hear that.
Right.
Like, what you saying don't matter to me, bro. I'm getting my minutes. I'm about to get these buckets. I'm the third member of the Splash Brothers. Get out my ear.
Right.
All right. So
I can dig that. I can kind of see both. I can kind of see both perspectives from that, because Green has always been known to be that to have that dog in him, but in a negative connotation, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, he's been deemed a dirty player in the NBA in the NBA for some years now, right? And shit, even to the point where he, going back and forth and cussing out and jacking up Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? At one point, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. So it's like, I can kind of see where Draymond is coming from, and I can also see Jordan Poole being that airhead, got that air in his head. Now he blown up. Now I can kind of see him doing that too. So I can see the frustration coming from Draymond in that instance. Now, Draymond did apologize to Jordan Poole, but then left the facility. You know what I'm saying? He also went on to say that he apologized to Poole's family as well. He don't know how they're receiving it, but hoping that, everything goes well, goes over well with him as well. But I don't know, man. I mean, it's like, so it also came out that they were thinking that since both of them are under negotiation as far as their contracts, this is like some frustration with that as well. But a lot of people saying it's not that either.
Yeah, I don't know if it's anything contract wise, but I do wonder what the Warriors are going to do with this situation. And I said, I'm glad you brought up the Kevin Durant,
the KD situation,
and Draymond situation, because this would be relationship number 2 that potentially has been damaged with the Warriors because of Draymond. Whether KD and Draymond say that KD leaving had no direct reflection from his interaction that he had with Draymond that one game, it definitely played a part in it. And
I think so too, for sure. I thought it whenever it happened.
Yeah, and so now you punch Jordan Poole, the Warriors, that relationship, whether they say they good or not, is damaged.
I think it
Jordan
is.
Poole and Draymond Green. So Draymond Green will be 33 this year. Draymond Green is up for a contract as well, contract year. Jordan Poole is a young kid, had a good year last year. I think they have to get rid of one of them. And I think the one that they get rid of is the one that's been in 2 altercations with star players. And also
the one that's getting older.
And the one that's getting older. The only reason I think they could keep Draymond is because Jordan Poole is probably going to ask for too much money, and he is a young player. So
the deadline is in a week. The deadline is literally the 17th, which is next Monday. So they're kind of using that as leverage with the Warriors, as far as both parties really are. Of course, Poole is still on his rookie contract, and he is probably up to get more money. I ain't saying no max money, but he gonna ask for enough. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Draymond, with his production, regardless of how much he is the heart of the team, with his production, I don't think he gets what he wants, honestly, what he might ask for. So,
they already have a pretty heavy, their roster is pretty heavy on the money. They got some players on their team making some big dollars.
Yeah, because Green is on his final. This is a contract year for him. So in 2024, he could be an unrestricted free agent. You know what I'm saying? So this is basically his last year that he could be like, okay, y'all gonna keep me or not? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But at least he was remorseful, man. I mean,
Draymond?
Draymond.
He had to. Come on now.
There's no way. I mean, at least he was. I mean, because he said he watched that video like 15 times, and every time he watched it, he was like, "Yo, it got worse and worse and worse." He's like, yo, this is awful.
Boy, yeah, you knocked the dude out. What you
me
mean it got worse and worse and worse? It's the same thing every time you watched it. You lived it. Come on, bro.
He said he's
yeah. But so this is how I feel about that situation. And we talked about this earlier in the week. He could potentially have ruined the confidence of Jordan Poole. And
he
Jordan
potentially
Poole
could have. I agree.
Might not play anywhere near how he played last year moving forward, because it's one thing as a basketball player for critics and social media to talk about how bad you were playing. Eventually you can play your way out of that. It's another thing to have, and the film, the film is something that you've looked at for as long as you've been playing basketball. It's another thing to have it on film that you got your ass knocked out.
Right.
So, and we know social media is unforgiving and unrelenting when it comes to memes and stuff like this. How this tape got out, I have no idea,
bro.
Me as an organization, I would scrap tooth and nail to make sure that tape did not get out. But I guess in transparency and in the realm of internet, social media age, you gotta let stuff out like this out. But they could have. I don't think Jordan Poole.
That didn't have to come out though. Like whoever released this tape is probably gonna be fired, because as a family, what happened behind closed doors happens behind closed doors. What happens in the family, it's family business. You know what I'm saying? That's family business, and it shouldn't have came out. Like period. You know what I'm saying? And what they don't need to leak is that audio. That's what they don't.
Yeah, they need to keep that. Yeah,
keep that audio under wraps, my boy.
For real, because that could damage not only Poole, but it could damage Steve Kerr. It could damage the coaching staff and Draymond, because let's imagine if what they were arguing about was so little as to Jordan Poole being in the right place on defense.
Right.
Or something of the matter of the sort. People gonna look at Draymond like, bro, you punched that man for that?
For that, bro. Like,
but then if it comes out that they were arguing about exactly what we mentioned earlier, Draymond's playing time and Jordan Poole having a big head, that could also be damaging to the team chemistry.
Yep. Or if it came out that Jordan Poole was like, shit, I saw your mama titties, them shit's long as fuck. Like,
come on, my guy.
I know. I just wanted to put some comic relief to it. I know. I just wanted to bring some comic relief to it. But in the day, if like you said, I think regardless of big or small, the audio can't leak. But if it was something as small as, bro, you cut it the wrong time, or we're playing the 2-3, you got to be here on your rotation, or the second option was open. Why did you force that layup? You know what I'm saying? Something of that nature. If it's that little, then Draymond, you bugging. You know what I'm saying? But if it was like tempers flaring and Jordan Poole not being receptive of any constructive criticism, and Draymond Green just kind of being at his wit's end with this young kid having a good year and not being airheaded, okay, then I'm not saying it's warranted, but I can see where Draymond coming from.
Right.
I can see where it's coming from. Now, like I said in the beginning, I have never been in a fight, in an actual fist fight with my teammates or any of the ops. Because to me, of course, you're going to be competitive. You're going to talk your shit. You're going to go back and forth. You're going to, do your thing on the court. That's been going on for years and years and years. That's never going to stop. But to get to a point where it's blows thrown, never been in that situation in my life. And I have never even, I don't even think I've gotten close to it, to be honest. Me personally, I haven't gotten close. I've seen it happen in practice before, but I've never actually been the one for that to happen. And I don't know I don't know why that is. Cause me, I'm silly. I don't take a lot of things seriously. Like, I don't.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And basketball was one of those things I didn't take seriously. So to me, it was just a game. You know what I'm saying? If it would have happened on the football field, I could see, because that was my heart. But the basketball court, I didn't care. I said, bro, I don't even have to be here, to be honest, bro. I could be on the field working on my routes and working on my 40 time if I really want to be. Like, I don't have to be here, bro. Like, I don't care. But, that's just how I was. But I've never gotten to that point, bro, to throw blows at my brother, who I consider a brother. I go back to that because to me that's important, because you spend 10 months out of the year together, bro. You have to be some kind of relationship, because it even said in the article that Green said historically they had a close relationship with each other. They've been close since he was drafted in 2019, which makes the situation even crazier, because that deems to be like what was said on the court or behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
To me, in that sentence, the key phrase was historically.
Historically. There you go. And that goes back to what you were saying too, is like over the past year, he could have been getting a little bit big headed and Season had a good year. And then Draymond not being too big up in, a big component of the offense no more, or even the rotation no more. So yeah. I feel you. I feel what you're saying. Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, stuff like this happens all the time, especially in the preseason. Well, when you think preseason, for me, we're both football minded. Mm-hmm. We think about long days, pads, heat, whatnot. Fights occur all the time in preseason. Mm-hmm. So we're in preseason for basketball now. This is new, but obviously, like I said, you watched the Jordan documentary for The Last Dance, and his former teammates were saying he was fighting all the time. Mm-hmm. But the way that Jordan Poole fell after that punch, I definitely think, and just it being released in general, I definitely think that relationship is tarnished and will be hard to fix. Mm-hmm. And it could affect the chemistry for the Warriors this year, who many say could win the championship again.
Yep.
So I'm interested to see if they keep both of them. And they don't deal away Draymond, because we feel like they want to keep Jordan.
I think Poole. They want to keep. I think both of them are still under contract for this year. I think Jordan Poole is trying to get a rookie extension. I think the situation with Draymond's contract is that after this year, he has a player option, and if it's not picked up, he could be a restricted free agent. That's what's going on with him. So they're both going to be on the team this coming season, but it really just depends on the contract extension with Poole and how they work out the next year with Draymond.
So I'm interested to see how that chemistry for the team is this year.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that, like you said, Poole can kind of shake this off and keep his confidence, because a punch like that, especially now that it's out in the media, because once it's on the internet, it'll live forever. Lives forever. So hopefully this doesn't damage his confidence. He said that I saw a picture. You said you didn't really believe it, but he said he was like, "Yo, I shook it off. Ain't hurt." Boy, stop. You look hurt. You were limp, slumped, my boy. You was almost. No, I ain't gonna say that, because that's you were almost Tua.
Oh, see.
You almost was fencing, my boy. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You wasn't gonna say that.
I did, but I had to. I had to. I'm sorry. Once I thought it, I had to spit it out, because it was he was almost in a fencing response, my boy. You need to calm down.
Nah, he fell immediately.
Immediately. Immediately. But hopefully everything goes right with the Warriors, man. And Draymond can, because he did say that when it happened, he was in a very bad space mentally that day. And he kind of failed as a leader and failed as a man and failed as a brother. So, I mean, he seems really, he seems like he's trying to get himself together and trying to keep his emotions from taking advantage of him again. So hopefully that goes in the future.
He's trying. Yeah, we'll end right there. So,
say what you got to say. Finish it out. Say your opinion.
He said he's trying to keep his emotions from getting the best of him. That is Draymond Green.
That is Draymond.
Boy, the man has been ejected during the playoffs. The man has been on the brink of being taking a suspension in the playoffs because he has had too many technical fouls during the season. Mm-hmm. I mean, some of the technical fouls that he gets probably are not warranted, but that is who Draymond is. So it's hard to change habits. His habit is letting his emotions get the best of him. What the hell is Draymond talking about?
But we also said that he is in this contract year. So maybe he trying to say, look, man, I need to figure out a way to handle these emotions and not be this hot-headed as I have been in the past. But like you said, it's hard to change habit. So this is who Draymond. This is who Draymond is. This is Draymond's. Honestly, this is his claim to fame, because other than his antics and what he does on the court and the personality that he is, who else is Draymond? Honestly,
he is a playmaker, but not a high. I can't say a high caliber playmaker, but he isn't in the category of a LeBron type playmaker.
For sure. Right.
Podcast
Got to, man. Might as be the LeBron pass it. Part of my LeBron.
Yeah. But I mean, he isn't the caliber of playmaker as LeBron, but he is a playmaker.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is his claim to fame is he plays good defense. He can play 1 through 5 essentially defense, or 2 through 5, and he's a good playmaker as far as assists. He leads the Warriors with assists. So, and then on defense, he is the voice of the team, and he's the
hammer.
Yeah, he's
supposedly.
the enforcer.
The enforcer. Yeah, there you go. That's a better word.
He's the enforcer of the team. But based off of what everybody says, this age of basketball isn't the same as the 80s age of basketball, where the actual hammers really could not play any basketball. They were really the enforcers, right? Like they were the ones protecting the stars. So that's what Draymond's role is in the 2000s versions of the NBA. So for him to say that's just it was funny
crazy
to me.
It is kind of.
I mean, I understand where he's coming from. Yeah, and you have to say that, but it's just funny. That's his habit. That's what he does.
That's his personality. That's who he is to be that emotional guy, especially for that organization. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll have to see how it moves forward. Jordan Poole, keep your head. You know what I'm saying? Don't let this take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? Don't let this, get you out of your headspace and still be a great player that you are. And Draymond, I don't even know what to say about Draymond, my boy. Just keep being yourself, but handle that.
For sure. So that's a wrap, my guy.
Yes, sir.
Episode 6, Part of My Wisdom.
Episode 6,
man. Way longer than we wanted to.
We did. And a lot of that was segment 2, but we 6 weeks in, man, and we making a habit, and just like we say every week, man. Love you, bro. I love you, coming up, taking this journey with me, and starting from ground zero and trying to build this thing into something bigger, man. So I appreciate you every single Sunday recording this with me, man. I thank you, bro.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you as well. And again, love you as well. Hope we can continue to have these conversations as we do every week, and then continue to grow, entertain everybody with our discussions. That being said, holla at you.
We out. Peace.